Welcome to Patty's Aquatics and welcome to my channel. So today will be another video in my series, a fish room vlog series, where I'm documenting everything I'm doing with my aquarium since I changed them over from dirt to the sand and gravel mixes. Now, if you've seen any of those past videos from this vlog series, I struggle with green water. I struggle with cloudy water since changing those substrates over, and I struggled with algae. Now the cloudy water and green water are gone. The algae is a little bit there, but it has improved immensely. So this video, what I really want to do is go over fertilizing those tanks. I want to start the comparisons between all of them. Now, if you haven't seen in those past videos, I explained what I want to do. I really want to compare tank to tank since I have so many different tanks with similar bioloads, similar plants. I really want to see how plants are going to grow in every tank by doing things a little differently. So I want to compare. I'm going to do some tanks with just liquid fertilizer, some also with root tabs. I want to do some with both. I'm going to do one or two without nothing, no fertilization at all, and see just how the natural bioload kind of helps with the plants compared to the rest with the fertilizer. So with that, let's turn the camera around and I'll show you a little more in detail what I plan on doing. All right, so a quick overview of the tanks. You can see the cloudy and water and green water is gone. There's still a little bit of algae in a few of the tanks, but it has gone down immensely. Like I said, I cut the light back, the duration, the intensity on these, and that little hair or string algae has really been dying off and going down in these tanks. So they're not perfect by any means. They still don't look pristine, but trust me, they're going to get there. But that's why I want to really start fertilizing these tanks, because I've been noticing some of the crips especially aren't really liking it so much, and some of the dwarf sag isn't really liking it so much. So I really want to get the process going and the ball rolling with this fertilizer. So that's what we're going to do today, like I said. So what tanks am I going to do what? Well, let's start with the puffer tank. The puffer tank, I have a lot of root feeding plants, and you can see some of this algae that's sticking on the plants here. I really want to get that gone too. So I have lots of crips in here. I've got this pond lily, and I have a few swords, and I have a lot of dwarf sag in the back. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to use both. I'm going to put root tabs in the substrate along all these crips and swords in this pond lily. Then I'll also use the liquid fertilizer in here, and we'll see what happens. I think this tank will be fine, and I think it's going to thrive, but I really feel those plants absolutely need some type of nutrients in that substrate. Otherwise, it's just not going to end well for them. In my opinion, it'll be similar to how it was when this was a dirted tank, when their roots weren't reaching that soil layer. They're just going to be there, but they're not going to grow, in my opinion. Well, let's move over to this hexagon tank. I don't know what size it is. I always say that in every video, a 20 some gallon. Anyway, it's full again of root feeding plants. We have crips and swords. I have a couple little plants in back that are probably water column feeders. So what I'm going to do in this one, I'm only going to do root tabs, just root tabs in here. There's no need to put water column feeding fertilizer, in my opinion. So we're just going to do root tabs. Move over to my CPD tank. This is the tank where I had lots of crips, and they all melted back when I changed the substrate over and put them in here. You can see some of them are coming up slowly but surely. I want to get this process rolling. I got this Anibius in here, which still has this crappy algae on here, but I've been pulling it off and it's been dying back. Trust me, I know this tank looks like absolute junk. It looks like garbage. I absolutely hate it right now. That's why I want to get these crips growing. I want to probably get some new plants in here as well yet. I think I want to get some more crips and maybe swords in here too, so we're going to have to see. But this one, again, just going to be root tabs. So these two tanks here will just be root tabs. Well, mainly because it's going to benefit the plants that are in there, but I do have some water column feeding plants in here like the Anibius, and I Can't remember if that's moneywort. I don't remember what plant it is. But anyway, so we're going to do just root tabs in these 2 tanks. We're going to see what happens. Let's move on to this tank. This has my King Yama goldfish, King Yama rice fish in it. I'm not going to do anything with this one. This one I'm just going to leave be with the Ludwigia. I do have a few little crypts in here, so I will see how they are going to go over the months here without having fertilizer in the substrate. I have an idea of what's going to happen, but we'll see for sure. I'm sure they're going to probably be stagnant and really not grow very well, but I'll be curious to see if they wind up growing better than I really think. But this one will be nothing. No fertilizers of any kind other than natural biofertilizer from the fish waste and excess food that maybe falls to the bottom. Then let's move over to the racks over here. Let's go to the white cloud tank. My white cloud tank, which by the way you see is pretty empty, is because I got all the white clouds outside except for my gold ones. This one I'm going to do both. I'm going to do liquid fertilizer and root tabs. I want to get some root tabs in there for these crypts here, and then liquid fertilizer for all the dwarf sag. So that's that one. And we can pop up to my rainbow shiner tank, and that's going to be the same as my white cloud tank. I'm going to do both in here as well. I want to get some root tabs on these crypts that are in here. And then I want to get that liquid fertilizer in here for this Anibius and the dwarf sag that's in the back. Again, I know this tank looks like garbage too right now with all this algae, but trust me, if you had seen how much algae was in here to begin with, this is immensely better. This was just one big wall of algae all through here. It's all starting to clear up and go away. And if you look closely at some of the algae, I'm trying to find it now, on the tips. I don't see much of it now, but the algae would get white on the tips. It almost looked weird, like this right here. It almost looked like some kind of eggs at first, but no, that's actually the algae dying off. So I've been seeing so much of that in these tanks. So this one's going to be both. I want to get this thing clear and look like a really cool, pristine tank again. So again, both liquid fertilizer and root tabs in here. And then we'll move over to this tank. This is my other tank with my Hyphenbu Cora Variatis. This one, just going to do liquid fertilizer. Nothing but liquid fertilizer in this one. I do have some crypts in here. So again, we'll be interested to see how they fare without any root tabs in it. But I think this one will do pretty well, to be honest with you. And then this tank down here, this one I haven't showed you the fish I have in here yet. I may make a video before it comes out. I'm not sure. I've got some crabenzas in here. I got 4 of them. I know I definitely have 2 females in here. I've got 2 others, and I'm not sure if they're males or not. We'll find out. But anyway, what am I going to do fertilizer in here? This is going to be the same as the one up above. I'm just going to do liquid fertilizer in here, nothing else. I don't have any crypts, so there's really no need to put root tabs in here anyway. So we'll see what happens. And then lastly, that's my axolotl tank. Sorry for the glare, but I'm not putting any fertilizers in here, and I haven't for a while. So this will be another one of those no fertilizer aquariums, and you can kind of already see the jump start because it's been up and running for a while. Plants are growing. I don't have any crypts in here though, so that's the big thing. I have Anubias and dwarf sag and Ludwigia, which are the main water column feeding plants. So with that, let me go through the fertilizers in all the tanks, and then we can talk a little bit more. All right, folks, so I got the fertilizers in all those aquariums. Like I said, root tabs and water column feeding fertilizer in both of those. Just liquid fertilizers in those. Nothing in here. Nothing in my axolotl tank. That's dirted, so I'm doing nothing with it. These 2 will be root tabs only, and my puffer tank will be both liquid fertilizer and root tabs. Now, like I showed you before, what am I using? I am using Aquarium Co-op's Easy Green and the root tabs. Now, I know there are other brands on the market. But this is the one I'm most familiar with, and I really trust all of Aquarium Co-op's products. So that's what I'm using. What I'm going to do is really use it according to the bottle. The root tabs I will do once a month for now. What I did is pretty much put a root tab under every single plant, and we're going to see how that works. Fertilizers, I did the recommended 1 pump per 10 gallons and plan on doing that weekly, and we're just going to see how it progresses. So we'll have another one of these videos soon. The other thing I want to talk about briefly, quickly, is that I also tested the water in my tanks. I haven't done that in forever. When I had dirty tanks, I rarely ever tested my water because really I always knew I always had 0 nitrates. Well, I really wanted to see, has there been a difference? Now, I did a water change probably a week ago, so I didn't think it would be overabundance, but every single tank really didn't register much. My puffer tank, I think, had like 25 parts per million of nitrates. And then pretty much the rest of them, all were like either nothing or just the lowest, maybe like 5, if anything. So that's another thing really to think about, is I'm going to really be testing more just to kind of see where my nitrates are falling from week to week, because I really want to try to figure out a water change schedule. There's no point of changing your water every week or every 2 weeks if your nitrates are really low and your plants are consuming a lot of that bio load, because you want a little bit of nitrate in your aquarium, in my opinion, because, well, that's plant food. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you really enjoyed this progression. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Like I said, this is not going to be something that I'm going to be in 2 weeks this is what I'm going to do because this was the correct way. That's not how it's going to work. This is probably going to take 6 months to a year to really get a better understanding for me of how it's going to turn out. I already kind of have an idea of what's going to work and what's not, but to be able to have this side-by-side comparison with these different tanks and these different setups, I think it's kind of cool to be able to see it up close and personal, other than just trying to remember in years past what's happened and what hasn't. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and I hope to see you next time here at Patty's Aquatics.